Hello, if you don't know who I am, my name is Paul and I'm going to do a video today about doing some flicks on my MG F. It would be fair to say that financially this car does not make any sense, but if we just drove cars that made sense financially, things like this wouldn't exist at all. And we'd all be driving around in exactly the same type of car because that would be the one that makes the most financial sense. Glad we don't live in that world because that would be cack. Not only would it be cack, but channels like this couldn't possibly exist because there'd be no demand for it whatsoever. So instead of faffing around, I'm going to see if I can fit this simple part to this car today that won't stop it from being tatty, won't stop it from needing welding, won't stop it from all the other things it needs. But it should at least be safe to drive. It's a track rod end. Open the car, climb into the car, close the door, deactivate the immobilizer, and it starts. I want the joys of struggling to get in and out of a car to continue as long as possible. And I can only have that with something like this. It will stop my body from becoming frail and old. Well, I hope. The track rod end is a simple bit of metal, about that long for this particular car. It pops in one bit with a nut, and then it screws to the end of the steering rack like so. It's, in theory, a very easy job to do. You do have to take the wheel off first, so you can't just say it's two bits of unscrewing. This car is way too low to put the jack under it anywhere at the front. Even with the jack bits taken off of it to make it a bit lower, it still doesn't work. So I've had to take the rather dangerous measure of jacking on the sill, which, as we can see there, does have a hole and is crusty and will need sorting out for the next MOT. Whilst this is jacked up though, you'll be able to see just how much play there is in that wheel. That's a fair bit. That definitely explains why it doesn't like to drive in a straight line anymore. I mean, it does once you get above sort of 30. But below 30, it wanders around like a retired postman with Alzheimer's. Sorry, I know that's not actually funny. The concern of the track rod end is that it could pop off and suddenly you lose your steering, like your wheels come off. But the really odd thing is that this wheel doesn't want to come off, even with no wheel nuts on it. So, right, finally got there. Wow, it gets worse. Look at that. There's nothing holding the disc in place except for the caliper, because these have been drilled out by the looks of it. Yep, drilled out. I'd say drilled out, as to be expected. This doesn't want to undo, but kindly next door provided me with a bit of heat. I need a blowtorch of my own. Come on, companies.
Yep, one day I'll be able to record a whole video without having to do a voiceover because of a microphone mistake. Not going to happen for a while though.
One, two. Knackered. Should be good. And so off I went out for a little test drive in the MG F to see whether that track rod end made any difference to the way it drove. And guess what? Of course it did, but it still didn't feel entirely right. There's still a bit of a wobble around 30 miles per hour, and then it goes away. It's difficult to tell though, because you can only really tell when you're on a really nice, smooth bit of road. And of course, we don't really have a great deal of that anywhere around here. In actual fact, if you want a car like this to last any length of time, you've literally got to be constantly scanning the road for bits of it missing to make sure you're not ruining your suspension on a daily basis. And the obvious solution take the wheels off the other car. If I can get them off, if I can get the car to move, and I couldn't. And that's why I've gone to these measures that you see right now. TF wheels on the front, F wheels on the back. I prefer the rear wheels, but they don't look that different from this distance. Time for test run 3. If this doesn't drive better on the 3rd test run, then it's something a bit more serious. Nope, it's exactly the same. Oh dear indeed then. What could it be? It's not a wheel imbalance. The track rod end hasn't really fixed it. That could only really mean it's the steering rack. And that's a lot more serious. Clearly that track rod end desperately needed doing. But am I being just a bit too picky here? Because when I first had this car, it was that moment I took it off with Spirited Drive where I suddenly thought, yes, this is the car for me. I mean, I liked it straight away, obviously. Who wouldn't? What's there not to like about having your head out of the roof? So with that in mind, I'm gonna take it for a blast at Blackstone Edge and see how I feel then. Now it feels better. Half the trouble is, a car like this doesn't really want to sit in traffic. It just doesn't feel right there. It feels right here, blasting its way up Blackstone Edge in 5th gear. About 5 months back, I made this video about this car, suggesting that my car is having an affair with another man. And I drew quite a lot of analogies and things there, and I liked the video, and it was with genuine sadness that was happening. And then Alison came back with a tattoo of her boyfriend on her chest. We were still married, but somehow it was going to be difficult to get over. We got back together for the sake of the kids. But today, coming up here, has been like having a date night where we've gone out and explored each other again and enjoyed genuinely each other's company and discovered what it is that made our relationship so special in the first place. And now I can see a good future again. All will be forgiven, Alison. I forgot how bad the brakes are. I could do with getting a doggy harness. Then Wilma can sit next to me and enjoy this. I reckon she'd love it. Because so far she's not been one of those kind of head out the window type dogs, because she's always in the boot. The only conclusion I now have about this still persistent wobble, although I'm happy the front wheel's not going to fall off anymore, is that it must have a buckled rear wheel. I will look into that in a couple of days when I get a chance. Wish I chose a different time of day to do this, because I'm sat in the traffic with my engine off now. Hey, it's the responsible thing to do, that's all. I'm on it. I'm on a bit of a slope, so why do you need your engine on? You don't, do you? Oh yes I do, yes. Because legally you're not supposed to coast. even though it doesn't make any difference. Maybe there's some legalities around. You're only driving if the engine's on. So if you're coasting down a hill like this, maybe you're not technically driving, so therefore you can get away with doing the kind of things that you can't get away with when you are driving. Worse things than coasting.